Ladies and gentlemen, I felt the need to make this video to curb the spread of misinformation. The Incandescent weapon perk in the Dragon Fly Spec mod do not synergize. The mod has absolutely no effect on the perk. None at all.
No, Ironworker, you're wrong. I saw somebody test this, and it works.
Okay. We're going to take a very close and careful look at this. The Dragonfly Spec is listed as increasing the damage and radius of the Dragonfly explosions, and it does work very nicely with Dragonfly. Here you can see the pointed inquiry dealing 5,294 points of damage on the Dragonfly explosion. And it happens quick, so I'm going to try to slow these down for you and zoom them in a little bit so you can see what's going on. Now we're going to run that same test again, except we're going to apply the Dragonfly Spec mod. And even though it's going to result in a little bit of dead air, I'm not going to cut the game capture between applying the mod and running the test, just to help the credibility along. Did you catch it that time? A few different damage numbers did roll off. That 7,761 was the tick that came off of Carl. So that's allowing the Dragonfly explosion to deal about 46.5% more damage. And awesome, the best kind of damage is more damage. But remember that we are dealing with blast damage, meaning there is a blast radius. Damage will gradually decrease the further a secondary target is away from the point of the explosion. This is why I'm trying to pop each Cabal as close to Carl as possible to get the most accurate read on the maximum damage being dealt. So let's try this out on a weapon that does have the Incandescent perk, like Strident Whistle. Review coming out for that soon, by the way. When we secure a kill on the Legionary that's basically right on top of Carl, we see 1,446 points of damage, with the damage ticks rolling down from 512. If you'd like to check that out again in half speed, here you go. So we'll apply the Dragonfly Spec mod, and if it's working at all, we should see at least some increase in the damage. And the proximity really couldn't have been any better on that one, and we still saw 1,446 points of damage, with no change to the Scorch ticks. So I mean, that right there pretty much disproves it. But I mean, hey, maybe it's just a weapon. Maybe Dragonfly Spec and Incandescent just don't work on this bow. So we'll give the Staccato Scout Rifle a try. Same story here. When finishing off the enemy right next to Carl, we're seeing that 1,146 points of damage. And that is going to hold true for all weapon types. 1,146 is your baseline damage for an incandescent explosion. But hey, might as well try it out with the Dragonfly Spec again. And we got the whole pack of them with that explosion, so there are additional damage values lingering up there. But most importantly is our reoccurring 1446. Nothing higher except for the damage from the body shot. Results hold consistent. You want to try it out one more time? Let's go with the special weapon, Beloved. Here again we're seeing 1446 with no change to the damage ticks. So the Incandescent perk is going to deal the same damage regardless of whether you're using a primary or a special. Throwing on the Dragonfly Spec yet again. And yet again, it does not change anything. Now, if you think that you're seeing increased Scorch damage from the Spec mod with Incandescent, make sure you're not wearing Dawn Chorus, and make sure you do not have Ember of Ashes equipped in your fragment slot. Ember of Ashes all on its own is going to improve the initial Scorch tick damage to 625. It's not the Spec mod doing it.
But Ironworker, you didn't test the improved blast radius. I saw it on the internet. It has to be true.
A real easy way to test that is just to pop over to PvP. I've got Agent Sparkles on the flag, and Mrs. Ironworker establishing our blast radius. First thing I did was figure out the maximum reach of the incandescent blast on each weapon. I found that Mrs. Ironworker was taking very minimal damage when standing about 7.5 meters away from the initial explosion. So I moved her back 1 meter to 8.5. I ran through the test with each weapon again, and found that Mrs. Ironworker was not taking any damage at 8.5 meters. So if there's any improvement to the blast radius at all, I can leave Mrs. Ironworker at 8.5 meters, put the Dragonfly Spec on each weapon, and if there's an increase, she's gonna take damage. Which did not happen regardless of which weapon I secured the kill with. I am 100% confident in saying that the blast radius is not increased one bit. So there you go, the pairing does not do anything at all. And I just want to say a few things before I let you go. I've always felt that as a Destiny 2 content creator, I have a moral obligation to the community to get any information that I present as accurate as possible. I'm not saying that I'm always perfect, I have definitely made mistakes in my videos. When it has happened, I felt terrible about it, but I tried to communicate the fact that there was an error and set the record straight. Once or twice, I've even had to yank a video down to right my wrongs. If I were to give you bad information, that violates our trust. And what's my content really worth if you don't trust the information that I'm presenting? Probably not a whole lot. And that just wouldn't hurt me, there's a ripple effect associated with it. If one content creator is sending you down the wrong path, you might go to the next guy and wonder, does he really know what he's talking about? And for most content creators, at least the ones here on YouTube, I think the answer to that question would be yes, they do. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be cautious as far as who you put your trust behind. And that goes for me and my content as well. I mean, if you see something that doesn't look quite right, try it out and come back to me with it. When in doubt, test it out. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. But I think I've said enough, I'm done rambling. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave it a like and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to catch more of my Destiny 2 content in the near future. Anything to add, leave it down in the comments and I'll be sure to check it out. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this video. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.